Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome back to the Nerd Den here, and today I am going to be doing my review on Ascension of the Cybermen. That was the first part of the two-part finale that is going to be concluded in like 5 days from recording this video, and that is going to be the time of children. But anyway, I'm going to be doing my initial opinions of this episode. I've watched it twice before doing this review because a lot happened and I was blown away. And that is something that I really want to be talking about, because this finale, I know it's not really comparing it to a lot with the finale of Series 11, but I feel like it's good to compare it to, because Ascension of the Cyberman, or Ascension of the Cyberman, was absolutely fantastic. Like, I loved it so much. It was amazing. And for me, honestly, before I dive deep into what made this episode good for me, was that it was one of the best Cybermen stories going, and it was an excellent continuation of last week's episode, The Haunting of Villa Didiotti, because Chris Chibnall, and it's hard to believe that this was the man who wrote the Cyberwoman episode in Torchwood, he absolutely nailed it with the Cybermen this episode, and it was good. Because obviously he's now the main writer for the series finale, so the fact that he's continued the Cybermen's menacing presence from last week's episode was amazing to see, and I was absolutely gobsmacked to see the Cybermen showing up, because obviously they were primarily from David Tennant's era that did cross over to Matt Smith's era as well, but it was good to see them back because they are the Cybermen designs that I grew up with, and I just love hearing that voice because it's so robotic, but I love it. I absolutely love it, and the design as well is honestly perfect. But yeah, the lone Cyberman as well showed up, who is also called Ashad, who we have yet to learn where exactly he came from, that maybe be tied to Gallifrey as well. That's something as well I need to touch upon in the review. But again, I really love the lone Cyberman in this episode. He's a little bit more menacing, and the fact that he's labelled as the Cyberman that can make other Cybermen scream is speaking volumes, because Cybermen don't normally scream because they don't have emotions. So the fact that was happening was just like, okay, well, he's a little bit more menacing, but I loved that. And whilst I'm on the topic of Cybermen, because again, these reviews are just all over the place, this is my impressions of the episode, I fully geek out during these things, but the fact that the new Cyberman variants, the Cyber Warriors as they've been labelled, are absolutely fantastic, and I absolutely loved the way they were introduced as well, because of the whole Cyberman screaming thing. But the fact that I wasn't really brought up with Classic Who was a little bit of a surprise to me personally when it came to my initial reaction to seeing these designs, because once I saw the first couple seasons of the New Who, as it's labelled by the fandom, I was like, okay, I'm going to watch some classic Doctor Who from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And, oh my god, Earthshock was something that struck me as a resemblance to these Cybermen. It was a mixture between Earthshock, The Invasion, and Revenge of the Cybermen from the 2nd, 4th, and 5th Doctor's eras, respectively. And I was just like, wow. I absolutely love the design of the Cyber Warriors for this episode, and I cannot wait to be seeing more of these in the next part, because I love them. They're sleek, they're resemblant of the classic Doctor Who versions of the Cybermen, and we yet to hear them speak officially, but again, I'm really excited to see what happens. And to be honest, the way Chris Chibnall has written the Cybermen for this season, I have no doubt that he's going to pull this off. And yeah, I absolutely loved it. But then moving on to the companions as well, they all had really good standout moments this episode. Like, Ryan deciding to stick with the Doctor was something that was really good to see, because Ryan generally, that's one complaint I've had this series, that unfortunately Tosin Cole hasn't really stuck out much to me, apart from Orphan 55, that was one of the weaker episodes. But apart from that, you haven't really seen him a lot. But then moving on, to this episode, he's really stuck out a lot more, because obviously he's supporting the Doctor. He's asking the right questions, in my opinion, and that obviously the next time and the TV trailer for next episode, it's like he's finally standing up and taking action against the army of Cybermen that are about to assault Koshamas' island. So that is going to be absolutely insane, and I can't wait to see more of that. But then again, Yaz as well, she became more Doctor-like, similar to how Clara did just before she died, so I hope that isn't any foreshadowing, because Yaz got a shitload of character development suddenly during the series, so I do hope that she ends up getting some interesting moments as well, and I hope that this isn't the end of Yaz, because she really excelled herself in the episode and did provide some moral compass. Then as well, I'm going to be talking about Bradley Walsh as Graham, just because he did a really good job as well, providing some light comedic moments and a sense of humour when everything was going haywire. Bradley Walsh as Graham did stick out, and it's just proof that he is an absolute treasure to the TARDIS team, and I did love every single scene. Again, from all the episodes, I've got to say Bradley Walsh's portrayal as Graham has stuck consistently throughout, and I've absolutely loved it. And that's all I can say, really. The guest casts were pretty strong as well. I didn't really like, again, I'm trying to think of the name off the top of the head, one of the male soldiers that stuck through the whole ship escaping. He was a little bit, he reminded me of Anakin Skywalker a little bit from Star Wars, because he was, moody, stroppy, and didn't really add much to the plot. But Julie Graham did a fantastic job as Ravio, an absolute badass, and I cannot wait to see more of her in the next part, and I feel like she's going to have a pretty good part and a pretty good role to play in the finale, and again, I cannot wait to see more. The whole subplot with Brennan that I've yet to do a video on, and there's a good reason I haven't done a video straight away. It's very out of place, and again, the segments for this episode are just kind of, it's edited, so we see a bit of the Doctor, we get some Brennan stuff, we see more of the Doctor, and then when they split up, we see some companions, Brendan, and then so forth, what have you. So, personally, I did enjoy the Brendan stuff. Some scenes where we saw some, it was like, okay, can you just reveal who he is already? And then we got to the final scene where he's getting tortured, and he's like, okay, things getting interesting. And then, of course, the whole thing that he survived getting shot, and then he fell back and fell off a cliff and survived. It's just like, there's something odd about the character. But yeah, personally, again, the subplot, it could have been edited a little bit well to lean towards some certain involvement he has in the next episode. But I don't think that's the last we'll see of Brendan, personally. And then to wrap it up, for what else I'm going to talk about from this episode, is Sacha Dhawan's master that showed up at the end with Gallifrey. Gallifrey, for me, its return was predictable. I did do a little theory video that Gallifrey was going to show up, I think it was like about a week or so ago, and I always thought, yeah, Gallifrey is going to show up, and I think one of the trailers did add the dialogue about the Doctor mentioning something about a home planet. It's like, yeah, Gallifrey is going to show up again. But it was good to see it show up, because obviously we want to know what the Time Lord's hiding, and it will add more to the mystery of the Timeless Child. And of course, the Master showed up again as well. Sacha Dhawan has done an absolute amazing portrayal of this insane incarnation of a Master, and I loved it. And it was, for me, perfection. I know he only showed up in the last couple of minutes, but it was cool to see him show up, and it was like, yeah, okay, shit's about to hit the fan. And it was the exact same feeling I had at the end of Spyfall Part 1 when Sacha Dhawan's character of O was revealed to be the Master. It was like, okay, you know that he's going to play an absolute integral, amazing role in the upcoming episode. And I cannot wait to see more of his Master, to be honest. And I do hope at the end of the day he ends up crossing over with at least John Simm's incarnation, because I feel like that's where the similarities do add up a lot more. Because obviously the most insane and very against the Doctor, but there are little hints of like they will support the Doctor if necessary. But yeah, that's my personal wishes. But again, to get back onto the review of the episode, if I was going to give it a final score, it would be a 9 out of 10. The only thing that detracts it from a 10 out of 10 is just because the whole Brennan subplot felt a little bit kind of detracted away from some of the bigger action scenes. But all the companions stood out this episode that was just like, whoa, okay, I'm just like pure geeking out right now. And again, the Doctor as well, Jodie Whittaker, had some fantastic darker moments, and I feel like that is going to transition perfectly over to next week's episode that is going to be set on Gallifrey. That is going to be really interesting. I do have a few more videos coming out this week before that finale airs for what this could mean for the future of the show. But yeah, I'll see you all next time. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.